missed the seatbelt comment. I should save the seatbelt comment. Never mind.
Looks like we should be a go on both. Confirmed. We're live and on the air on YouTube and Twitch. So welcome everyone to the Tech Show.
You sound far and distant in a tunnel.
Oh wait, let me make sure it's got my right mic. No, of course.
How about now?
Oh, much better.
Yeah, it decides to choose a different mic when I have a different mic hooked up. Anyway.
When you first came into the video, you looked like a Sith Lord, and now you sound like a Sith Lord.
All right, well, we are live and on the air, so welcome everyone to the Foolish Tech Show. It is a Tuesday morning, and we are here mainly to provide you with support and answer any questions about our products and services. If you do have any of those, feel free to jump over to foolishtechshow.com. Got an IRC chat that you can join in a couple of different ways, and we'll be more than happy to interrupt whatever we may be talking about at the time to focus on those type of topics instead. Because we will be filling the air with random shop talk, and just keep in mind on any of that any opinions expressed here are the opinions of that individual and not necessarily of the entire company. So with that, how's everybody's Tuesday going?
Going
Good,
great.
good. It's trash day. I got the trash out. That's good.
Glad you announced that to the world. Now we know a little bit more about your location depending on what day trash day is.
Oh, all those millions of Tuesday trash day folks out there. But anyway.
Every little bit helps.
Every little bit. The aggregation of information these days is amazing.
Yeah.
Stop joking around. Everybody knows where Michael lives.
It's true. It's so true. It's funny because it's true.
With almost 364 episodes and 90% of those us adding a little bit of info. Probably. Wouldn't be hard to narrow down, I don't think.
If you watch. That's going to be hard, though. Somebody's going to really have to hate you, Michael. 365 hour-long shows plus. Yeah.
At least. I have been thinking about going back and making a Michael location compilation, though. That would probably be
yeah.
first.
That would be great.
Especially when Protctor had his video playing in the background. I think Nick actually had a video of driving through his house.
Mm-hmm. I do.
All right. Well,
couple times from different directions, I think.
Yeah. All angles.
Lots of reasons to go back and watch those older Foolish Tech shows.
Yeah. All right. Well, you might have noticed that we didn't have a show yesterday. That's because we are trying something a little different here and posting a edited show, which is going to be what our new format's going to try to include. Which, speaking of which, we mentioned a little bit on Friday that tomorrow is going to be our 365th episode of the Foolish Tech Show, and they are all pretty much hour-long plus episodes. So with that, having gone a full year's worth of videos, we're going to switch up the format a little bit since we don't have as much tech support, product support time being utilized here. We're going to switch it up and move it back to probably 2 days a week. We haven't really fully decided on what days we're going to do, but hopefully we'll figure something out.
And we're looking at, what, a 30-minute show?
Yeah, and we're going to cut it back to probably 30-minute show times for the live and on the air stuff, for you to have a chance to still talk to us directly and bring up those type of issues. Past that, we're going to also try to do more targeted and segmented and edited and kind of put together shows that go over different topics past that, and include those on as various show dates or streams or whatever.
And this is good news all around, because I feel that we're doing this partly just because no one really needs the support that much, you know. So, and then cutting back the days and the total length of the show. Of course, we'll stick around for an hour and a half if we need to, just like we said we would now, past an hour. But it's just a matter of, hey, let's not schedule it like that, so that we don't have to, if we don't, you know, because we said we would, you know, because we're just not getting anyone really actually needing a lot of help. So
But
that's good news. But I'm sorry.
We do really have some good questions come up every
Oh,
now and then, and we have had some good support time. So we've
had awesome times.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and we've had awesome times. We've had everything, but now, I mean, you know, I guess now we just know. Now we know we don't need it. So it also signals the other bit of good news I wanted to say is that we're actually nearing the time when we can do the focused shows that Brantley just mentioned. We can do focused format broadcasts that aren't live or whatever, because or that are, but we can do this because we're actually nearing the point to where we're going to have to, with all of the newer stuff that's finally it's like coming to a head, and that's just good news. So it excites me. I'll be able to, I will participate more.
Awesome.
You know, but
well, to give you an example of one, and let me tell you what, it is not saving time doing focusing edited shows. I'll tell you that much. That is a huge, tremendous undertaking.
That's why we don't do it.
Yeah.
Generally.
For example, the show that I put together for yesterday's show pretty much has taken all the way up until now. It's still in the converting process to actually get it posted, and I still have to go through the upload and then converting and then description detail and stuff like that. So it is a fairly time-consuming process. However, the one that's going to be posted as yesterday's show is going to go over something we're excited to present out there, because we've actually had a few requests for it already, and we've given out some draft info. But if you've gotten that draft info, I highly recommend you check out this technical information page. Recently went through and updated it to make it look nicer, and we also added this section under the release notes for the CryptoPrevent V8 Client Manual. And there's a couple different ways you can view it. If you want to view it all in one page, you can use this link. The formatting doesn't work out as nicely on the one page, I feel, but I mean, if you really have to print something out and kill a whole bunch of trees, you can do it that route. Or if you just want to see everything in one nice laid out page, you can do it that way. But the expandable version on the technical information page is fairly nice. It breaks down all the tabs of CryptoPrevent and goes through a lot of detailed information and data on it. But that's what the show that was yesterday's show that we're editing and going to post after this show probably is based on that. The entire time length of that episode ended up being about 2 hours, but I went through each of the sections on those tabs, added some additional information, still in the manual, so you may want to check both of them out. But I'm going to have it so that the description has time links to the specific times when I discuss the specific items. So it'll be pretty nice to look at and use, and hopefully it will be helpful to people. So that's going to be coming, and we're excited about that. We're also going to do 2 additional manuals, one for the bulk creator and how their clients vary a little bit different from the standard client installation and usage. And then we're also going to do one for the white label creator and how those clients vary somewhat significantly from the bulk and regular premium / free edition. So we're going to have a lot more documentation and videos coming out in those regards. Those are probably going to be our first targeted videos after our 365 show tomorrow. Hey Timster, how's it going? Yeah, we're excited about doing that. Not very excited about having to do the documentation and stuff, but I don't think anybody likes doing documentation.
Definitely not.
Nope.
But
it sure does help out.
Yeah, it does in some cases. Michael did put together the client manual draft and the bulk creator and white label creator draft, and he did an excellent job on those. I did make a few edits and probably will make a few more on the other ones.
A lot of additions too, so I appreciate that. Sometimes, certainly and most times, 2 heads are better than 1, and I think this is one of those cases, but I appreciate you mentioning that.
Yeah, but he did do good work on those. So once we get those formatted for the web, which is a horrendous process as well, we'll get those posted and then get videos out documenting those as well. The other nicer thing about doing the focused targeted videos is that we can do them in a whole lot higher resolution, and we can invest the extra time into giving additional details, because like in that video, like I said, the video ends up being about 2 hours long, but it actually took me about 3.5, 4 hours to actually record it, because I had to stop because I kept talking for like 10, 15-minute stretches and voice wears out and all kinds of fun stuff like that. So we think the new format will go over well. If you have any suggestions, or once we pick a time and dates for the new format, if you think other times might be better, or if you think there might be a better way to do it, definitely take the time and let us know. You can always drop something in the IRC and we'll get it at least by the next show time. And we'll take those into consideration and try to adjust things, change things from there for whatever works best for everyone out there in the community, because that is really why we're doing these shows. So with that, I think that about covers it. Do you want to get into some recent random news, or anybody have anything else focused, targeted they want to say, talk about?
Played little bits with Wyatt.
Oh, cool.
It was just really awesome.
What is that?
This is a catapult activated by sound. And these guys actually down here are unnecessary. That's just whatever. But the back piece is just that. It's just to hold this stuff together. But essentially you have, like, for example, a little bit, now that I've played with it, I can see, and you can't see, but this is blue, so you're not going to see that. Green, surprisingly, you can. Green screen. But you always have a power module, input module, output module. But the cool thing about them is snap together magnets.
Nice.
Backwards, not going to work. Not going to work. Doesn't work. Input before output before input. Doesn't work. It won't go. Actually, that one did. Wait. I don't know. That's weird. That shouldn't go. But they have arrows on the things to tell you which you can't see anything. Never mind. But it's all potentiometer. I love it. I mean, there's so much with it, you know, but you can't tell a kid that's a potentiometer either.
Yeah.
Like, this is the thing that you turn. It's like a dimmer.
Does that catapult work right now?
See, I can make it work in a sec. Well, see, here's here's the problem. Here's actually the problem, and I got to go get a power adapter. And this is what I wanted to mention. So we got the little bits kit, and it comes with the, I guess you say the battery, and this is how you power the power module with a little 9-volt, and this little guy right here. Problem is, and luckily I found this, but this is how it arrived. So there's like the little clips in there that I now have to take these wires and go splice into to get the battery to work.
Nice.
I did get, I did make a working circuit with the, a power brick I found, and I borrowed from something else actually. So I'll have to go borrow that again to make it work. But
That's
yeah.
cool. Yeah, but
So,
that project seems cool, like making a catapult where you're just like fire and it fires.
yeah, because you can sound activated. My I will say the little sound module is this little guy, little sensitivity guy, and then here's like a little board, just light up LEDs for the, you know, how much power it's getting. But the sound trigger, what it's called, I couldn't really get it to work well. It's like you snap your fingers, you know, and it's like, okay, well now it's not registering, so you know, you tweak. It's got like the so much you can't see, but right below the thing is like, that's like actually a screw, and you can turn the screw to adjust the sensitivity. So all the little modules and components have like a little adjustment or a switch on them or something like that. You can change the behavior of the module. And so, or the bit, as they call them. So I just haven't figured out the sensitivity. I think my sensitivity to turning a screw is not quite right, because either I snap and it never works, or I snap and it is like, it never stops working.
Interesting.
Actually, the never stop working part, you want to hear something funny though? And of course you can chain the outputs together, so you can have, you know, multiple things. But the funny part is when you use the sound trigger with the buzzer, piezo element, whatever. When you do that, the sound trigger is supposed to stop sending the signal 3 seconds after hearing the sound. It always hears the sound when you have the buzzer connected.
Nice.
You can imagine I sat there for 5 minutes going, why isn't this thing stopping? Oh yeah.
Those dang recursive infinite loops. Yes. Something easily run into in programming.
Yeah, but it was good. I actually just wanted to say it was really awesome, because Proctor had asked about it, and I didn't get to play with it with Wyatt after Christmas. And so we played, you know, we did a lot of playing with it this weekend, and it really got him interested. I think he's going to learn something out of this.
That's excellent. I mean, anyone that has kids out there, your best option right now is to start teaching them electronics and programming, because that is going to be the after school jobs that are going to be available. That's probably going to be the out of college jobs that are going to be available in the coming future. So highly recommend it, and awesome that they got little things like that. Timster does want to see it work, so if you can grab that power adapter.
I'm trying to remember which one I used. I think it's downstairs. But you had to talk about something else until then, I guess.
Yeah, no, I got stuff. I got lots of stuff here. On that fact, there was something interesting that came up. Trying to find it here, but here we go. So apparently Bill Gates came up with the suggestion to tax robots to compensate for job losses. And I thought it was kind of an interesting idea and thought. So the fear here is that robots are going to take over all the jobs that people can use, which is why I suggest teaching your kids programming and electronics, because those are two jobs that robots are not going to replace anytime soon until AI starts to come on. But this is an interesting idea, is to basically have, if you replace something with the robots, like, so if your McDonald's order taker person ends up getting replaced by a kiosk, that kiosk would actually have a tax of its own because it took a job that a person used to have. I think it's an interesting idea and definitely might offset and give us the transition period at least, because that's probably going to be the most disruptive factor, is that technology increases tenfold over people adjusting to it. So there's going to be robots replacing all kinds of jobs, and these people that have been working those jobs for years, decades even, aren't going to have the ability to learn a new skill or adapt quickly enough. So yeah, and it's already happened in manufacturing jobs. A lot of those have been cut due to robots and things. So yeah, if we get auto-driving vehicles, trucking's gone. Quark's got some good points. They've thought about that a lot as well. But
yeah, I really I do feel for sometimes the truck because a lot of people who lost manufacturing jobs actually went on to be truck drivers, and it seems it's unfortunate the turn of events with that.
I mean,
this really helps to clip it to the board. Sorry.
Okay. This is something that I am almost certain businesses are going to fight tooth and nail, though, because that's why they're getting robots, is to cut costs. So don't expect this to happen. I just thought it was an interesting idea, and especially that it was touted by Bill Gates in his what appears to be extremely life-sucking life that he has, because he looks old now.
He does look rough, doesn't he?
He looks.
I did not. What
he okay?
How old
yeah,
is
that,
he?
that last link I posted is a picture of him. That's not even like the worst looking one. There was another one that had it like him beside his wife, and his wife looks like a Fountain of Youth drinker compared to him.
Okay.
He's only 61 years old.
Oh yeah, that's a good point. I thought it was older.
I have people. I know people that call this look rode hard and put up wet.
Yeah, that's exactly what it looks like.
Yeah. All right. So I saw. I just turned it on a second ago, and then I moved it, and then the power thing fell off because I didn't have it on the board. Magnets aren't that strong. I guess it's just gonna. I really there's no noise in the room, and I wasn't talking a second ago, and it just keeps going, and I'm like, it's not right.
Hey, it's working.
Either way, it's just the three, Snap-on guys. So I wanted to do. I actually wanted to put it. We were playing
That's
Oregon
the link
Trail.
we were talking about.
Remember? Oh, okay. Yeah, I got that. Remember we were playing. We were talking about Oregon Trail the other day, and I said, we also got the Oregon Trail card game for the kids for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the prank that Wyatt wanted to play with Little Bits, which of course it suggests pranks, and there are these things like it comes with this little template, that you put that you just slide the board, you just put it on there, and like it does the glowy eyes, but you have to use your imagination. It comes with this template, but you have to cut out like paper and kind of make eye cutout or whatever that you want to make it look spooky or whatever. So much of this is to do with your imagination, and also like this, you have to have your own big rubber bands to stick this around a book or something like that to hold it up, or however you're going to do. But a lot of it's imagination and bring your own stuff. But so the prank Wyatt wanted to play, and we were playing Oregon Trail while we were messing with this too. computers ruin multitasking in real life for everyone, I know. But ADD and everything else, internet. Well, another topic. But we're playing Oregon Trail and we're messing with little bits, and so the Oregon Trail card he kept getting was he dies of dysentery, and he's like, "Can we just remove this from the game?" It's like, you know what? I will take this, the dying of dysentery card, because he wanted to do something spooky with this, which it suggests to use as a prank, the booklet that tells you about this. And so I was like, no. I was like, how about we do something with the servo arm, the servo and the arm, and we'll take, instead of like the catapult thing, which this is also just a template, from the thing. So the cardboard that came with it, But I wanted to take that and I'll say, okay, here's what we'll do. We're going to tape the dysentery card that tells you you're dead, and we're going to put it on the servo arm, and then we're going to use the sound activating thingy. We're going to put it like in a cabinet or somewhere like that she's going to go. So just kind of like swing out and go, "You've died of dysentery."
Nice.
That was the whole point to that whole story. It just needed the setup, Oh, I can't wait.
Yeah, and I would have, when he asked if you can just take that card out, I would have been like, no, this card is the foundation of this game. If you don't die of dysentery, I don't think you've really played Oregon Trail.
Hey, dude. I need to play with the sensitivity some more.
That's interesting.
I have a story I was reading over the weekend that I thought had some interesting points. If I could chat about that for a minute.
Yeah, one sec. Let me just mention that link that I posted. That's an even scarier picture of Bill Gates.
Oh,
Looks like
I didn't see that.
he might be dying in that picture. It looks like, possibly.
Hey, just before we move on, this is the module that has the micro USB port and connectivity to a computer.
Mm-hmm.
It's called the Makey bit. I haven't quite figured out, because I haven't really looked.
Makey.
But it also simulates right arrow, left arrow key, space bar, and click, depending on how you rig up the alligator clips. And I also it comes with a lot of alligator clips, and Wyatt also learned that horned melons are conductive, along with most other fruits. You learned that that you can complete the circuit, So anyway, fun for all. Sorry.
Can you post that kit that you got, the Amazon link to it?
Sure enough.
I mean,
I do remember, Protctor was most interested in it, and I figured other people might be as well.
Yeah, no, it definitely seems cool.
But they have tons and tons of kits, like and I think you can buy a lot of that stuff individually too. Let's see here. Yeah, I'll grab that right here. Amazon.
I mean, if I had a kid right now, they'd be playing with Arduinos. So.
Well, and see, that's the other thing. You can do that. And Arduino is, and the other thing I got was the Code Gamer that Keaton got.
Yeah, which is Arduino compatible. So.
Yeah. I even found out. I think you can play Minecraft on that. I guess you make like I don't know.
You can play Minecraft on everything. All right. Go ahead, Michael.
So I've heard about this, and I'm sure you guys have mentioned or have at least read things alluding to this. But basically, cosmic radiation.
Wait. It's on sale now. Sorry. I just thought I'd get that out. It's actually on sale now. So.
Sweet.
$59. Regular No, it is not worth $99. But it is really neat that it's not worth $59. But it's really neat, just the magnets and everything. I guess it's if you want to make something like that, that's cool. But I don't know. This was worth $59. But it wouldn't be worth $99. How about it? Michael?
Okay. So this is an article covering radiation. So highly, or charged particles, or even just neutrons impacting the atmosphere. Some of them make it down. Millions of them pass through us all the time. They don't cause any problems typically. However, for sensitive electronics, they can cause issues. Now, the rate usually is so small that I always in the past had considered it to be something that you could virtually ignore. You like, okay, yeah, maybe over the lifetime of me using a computer, I might have it reboot, or have some issue related to that, but it would be random. It would be non-reproducible, and you can sort of throw it up to chance. But this article brings up a number of points. For instance, as chips shrink, particularly once they go beyond 65 nanometers, which we've been way beyond for quite some time. Intel's newest chips are 14, and their next generation is expected to be 10 nanometer. There's a metric that they use to determine the likelihood of these things happening, and they've done some tests, and the metric is called SEU, which is single event upset. Funny name. But at any rate, a couple of things come into play here. Number one, the rates are higher the number of transistors you have, because that's effectively the surface area of the attack. And as you know, as things get smaller and whatnot, we can pack more and more transistors into something. That's one thing that affects it. How high up in the atmosphere you are. So, for instance, planes are particularly sensitive to this. When they fly at 30,000 feet, they're many, many, many times more likely to have it. I don't remember the exact figure, but it's quite a bit. So the study that they did in 2004, trying to measure this, came up with a couple of results. Now, remember, this is 2004, so things were, this is aged a bit. So these, what I'm going to be talking about here are not modern day examples, but a cell phone with 500 kilobytes of memory will have one potential error every 28 years, according to this. A router farm used by most internet service providers with 25 gigs of memory may experience one error every 17 hours. And a plane with that same cell phone mentioned in the first, that I first mentioned, at 35,000 feet would have the potential of an error every 5 hours. So way back, Boeing and other plane manufacturers started to realize that this was an issue. And they had carried out a lot of testing. There's one specific example, and let me see, did I post that second article? No, I don't think I did. There's one specific example of a plane crash, of an incident on a plane. And that's a longer article, but that does cover, I think if you look into the caption under one of the pictures, it's the information regarding the plane. But basically, it caused the plane to dive very sharply and caused any passenger and any flight crew that wasn't strapped in to basically slam into the ceiling. And over 100 out of the 300 passengers were injured on that, as well as many of the flight crew. So it's a very significant event, and the only thing that they can reasonably attribute it to is this. All other things were ruled out as being very unlikely, although they can't absolutely prove it. It does suggest that that was the cause of that particular incident. So it can have very real world effects. Now, what they've done to mitigate this in planes particularly is they have a sort of triple redundancy. It's where what they do is when they get a signal, they compare it to two other, so they basically triple the amount of sensors, if you will, or circuits, and they do a check. And if two outvote the one, they'll ignore the bad one effectively and go with the other two, and that significantly reduces the chance of a problem occurring. But thank you, RTM Tech, for confirming this. Or triple redundant, yeah. Quadruple redundant. Yeah, you're absolutely right. So since that time period where that happened, most major airlines have included equipment to mitigate this. However, it's extremely expensive to triple or quadruple the amount of electronics or whatever that you're implementing in these planes. And sure, an airline manufacturer
I got a quick question here.
Put that bill.
If you're adding more electronics that are sensitive to this issue, is that really a fix?
Well, no, it's not.
I
But the
mean,
likelihood of it happening to all of them at once, it's in other words, it's a bit flipped, and it's a random collision with a particle that would be unlikely to have that exact event happen across three.
I'm not positive about this, but isn't cosmic radiation like solar flares included in that?
Well, they increase that, but even without a solar flare, those things are happening.
But following the logic here, if a large solar flare, which already can cause significant damage to our entire electronic infrastructure, if one of those came and it hit a plane, wouldn't it be a high possibility that majority of those electronics, like, I mean, if you're just adding more on,
it's not a complete solution.
I think he's talking more about minor events and not a major solar flare event.
Yeah, I don't
where
think
there's
that
more randomization as to what.
Like, for instance, NASA moves their satellites or shuts them down.
I guess my thing is, like, all right, so there's with the pipelines, right? The pipelines have leak sensors or leak detectors or whatever, but apparently those leak detectors fail all the time. So, like, the suggestion they had to that was to have detectors that detect that the leak detector has failed. It's kind of like you're just adding more crap on that's going to fail.
Well,
that's not solving the problem.
Well, okay, in
it's
effect,
adding to the problem.
Well, I understand your concern, and it is, but it has proven this triplicate and quadruple. They're spending what RTM quotes as 250 to 500,000 for these computers. It's proven to be effective. In other words, they wouldn't be spending that money on something that just doesn't do anything to help the situation. And so it has reduced the number of incidences of those things. So otherwise, you'd be hearing them happen all the time on news. Again, that's the airline industry, and its big budgets. But that doesn't. That's not to say that even though, like, on the surface, like, there's 300 times less likely to have something like that happen. That's not to say it won't occur. And as they even believe that the sensitivity, so as you shrink the chips and the transistors, the sensitivity to this goes up. So every new generation of Intel's chips are more and more sensitive to this type of thing, and there's no effective shielding for this either. It's not like, oh, you can just put a big lead plate around it and have that happen, have it be protected. It'll pass right through the lead, and unlikely not even stop or collide with anything. That being the case, again, this is very random, but being bombarded constantly with stuff does mean that it's a very likely possibility. And there's a suggestion in the article that seems to indicate that it could potentially prevent further shrinkage of chips unless something is discovered to deal with this. But again, those 2004 statistics are based on a phone with 500 kilobytes of memory. I would imagine today's phones with as many gigabytes potentially of memory that they have, are going to be far more sensitive to this type of thing. And I wonder.
That's the other side of mine too, is that, like, each new generation of stuff that they get, they're like, oh, we'll just add this in as a further additional redundancy check. But that redundancy checker is actually more susceptible to being affected by this issue. So it's like they're not attacking the problem correctly. They're just throwing money at it almost seems. But I do want to point out that in September last year, Cisco blamed a bug on their ASR 900 series routers on cosmic radiation.
Yep. So this is not just an airline industry problem. And I imagine this is a huge issue for data centers. And you've heard of those data centers that are being constructed underground. I believe this is a big reason for that.
Well, that led me to my next question. Does shielding help?
It does. It helps to some extent, but it's really about a distance thing. So, you know, the higher you are up in the atmosphere, the more likely the particle would have not collided with anything and will collide with you. So the lower you are down beneath the Earth, the particle has to go that much farther, and the likelihood of it having a collision, a random collision, is is a lot higher, I suppose. So yeah, there is some advantage of placing the lead shielding, but unless you had feet.
But I mean, you don't want to add like hundreds of tons of lead to an airplane that's already trying.
And I don't even know, and I say lead, and I don't even know if that would be the best material, for instance, to actually.
Yeah. But I mean, any kind of material you're adding to something that's trying to defy gravity already is not generally the best route they want to take, because that ends up costing more and more fuel and money and stuff. So it seems like this is probably one of those situations where it's a profit loss thing, where they're like, can we balance how much this is a problem versus how much we'll make off it not being a problem?
Yeah, sure. Just like our food is allowed to have certain amounts of animal fecal matter in it, but and it's
and arsenic
and other things. Yes, sure. So it is always about a balance between cost and safety, I suppose. But I'm hearing more and more stories about this, and the Cisco thing is what kind of lit me up to it. And that's one of your talk about that previously in weeks past had led me to delve into those articles, because those ones I posted are rather longer. And I hope they continue to study this, and and who knows what's going to happen. We may develop effective means to mitigate this, and Moore's law won't be in jeopardy, and whatnot. But can't predict the future. Just something to be aware of, and talk about. And I love RTM's contributions to this from his extensive plane experience.
Yeah, it definitely took a little bit of an introduction for you to get to the point, but it was a good conversation. So,
well, sorry, I just try to. I apologize. I'm not a great public speaker, but
I think that we should blame more things in computer repair industry on cosmic radiation. That's going to be my fallback. Something not working in CryptoPrevent, it's probably cosmic radiation. Thank you for giving me that ammunition. Well, I have another, what I thought was an interesting.
It works!
I think that $59 was worth more for Nick than it was for the child.
Hey, that's the fun thing about kids. You get to play with toys again.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Yes, you do.
You're going to like this and enjoy it, because I do.
Well, I did buy it for Christmas. Well, I said I didn't get to play with it. Here it is, late February. It was just in his room. He didn't want to, I'm part of it. Wasn't having it for a long time. He had a video game too, so. But yeah, I love it. There you go, Tim. Working catapult with sound activation.
That's nice.
I just catapulted my little mini screwdriver to adjust the sensitivity. So.
Whoops. Timster likes it. So I came across this article, and I wanted to hear everyone's thoughts on it. This article is suggesting that you move to a vertical Windows taskbar. If you're familiar with any OS, they pretty much all go horizontal. Windows obviously has been that way since '95. Actually, Windows Originals 3 and all that were horizontal.
There was always something across the bottom. Yeah.
Yeah. So and Apple, they chose
I don't recall any taskbar. Was there a taskbar?
It wasn't a taskbar, but they had a menu bar, which eventually turned into the taskbar type thing.
I had Norton Desktop that made essentially Windows 95 before Windows 95 with the whole desktop thing, but I don't remember that. I have to go back and look.
You had a menu bar.
Let me see if we can find a Windows 3.1 emulator out here.
I'm sure I could Google, but I thought it was I don't remember that.
Because I thought you could look at you could see which versions of or what applications you had open somewhere. Like I thought there was a bar.
I might be mistaken. I'm looking at some screenshots and I see it in a.
There was a
early version of it
thing, but it wasn't just there.
Gosh, my memory is shot.
Yeah, it doesn't look like 3.1 actually had anything other than the menu bar. But I still consider a menu bar pretty much a precursor to the taskbar. So, but the point here is, what do you guys think, or what does everyone out there think about the vertical taskbar and moving towards that? Because I mean, no OS has that standard, for sure. And I have seen a lot of people put it on the vertical side.
I've seen a lot. I'd say 90% of the people who put it on the vertical side got it over there and didn't realize they put it there. Didn't realize how they got it there.
Usually they're asking me to get it back to where it should be.
Yeah. Well, not in the cases I ran into. They were like, I would assume that and put it back at the bottom, and they'd be like, "What happened? How did get this back where it was?"
There definitely were several.
I think that's happened like once in like 5,000 instances.
Well, I've had several, but
Okay, that bottle cap is totally gone. But I just wanted to mention though that I did do the vertical when I had my first dual display. I tried that.
My problem with the vertical though is space, screen real estate. We have widescreen monitors, and there's not enough vertical real estate to get everything in my taskbar.
Well, actually, it suggests that widescreen displays are one of the benefits of vertical taskbar, because you get to see more of the application that's running. So, like you think you're losing space, but you've actually increased the width of your screen. So if you just take up that space with your taskbar, then that compensates. You go back to a standard size display for your actual display, but your taskbar gets actually more room, because at that point you can have the full title and you can have several applications listed down versus on the bottom.
Exactly, and that's why I liked it to begin with, but I wasn't ready to give up my second monitor. And this was before a wide display too, but I wasn't ready to give up my second monitor that I just acquired, for like half of that, But at the time, and come to think of it, I'm doing it again. At the time, though, I was playing around with some of the desktop widgets and things with IE4 that introduced, or Active Desktop, back then. Gosh, I think this was like Millennium or 98, something like that, my first experimentations with it. But it was like, oh, I'll play with the these new desktop widgets, and then I'll have like the taskbar and then the desktop widgets beside it, and that can just be that monitor, and it was great. But when I quit using the desktop widgets, I guess is when I that wasn't very, I guess, like having just like smaller windows. Like I need Windows Maximize. I need most of my screen, and even now that it's widescreen. But come to think of it, 3 displays is what I have now, and I wish I had more already, but I do sacrifice 1 display for things like instant messenger windows. There's the private chat, there's the office chat, there's the toggle we use to track our time at work, just everything. I have all of that like on 1 screen, and actually I should probably try it again.
Well, the other side that I did think was interesting is Michael was talking about less space, but when you put the system tray horizontal, you could actually see more icons, and it wouldn't be taking up the space that your programs actually have to work with. I definitely like being able to see the entire title of the window that's open. I always change the taskbar to never combine stuff unless it's run out of space. And because I prefer being able to see what those icons are. I don't have things just a little icons. So.
And you know what? I like text because I don't understand what the icon. I've never been an icon user since 1994 when I got into the computer thing. I was not an icon user. I mean, like personally, when I had my first 486, icons weren't for me. You know, I mean, of course I had DOS then, but I mean, right after that, you know. They weren't for me because I don't know what the icon means to you. I know what it might mean to me. It might not mean the same thing, and I don't really want to learn your symbolic language. You know, just give me the word.
Yeah.
And that way I know what it is, and I don't have to guess. So I've always been using the file edit menu versus the icons above it. I never ever use those, and this is kind of the same thing. You know, and I prefer that for my taskbar too. I want the text. So.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's the other thing they say too, is it's easier to read because it's more natural to have vertical text or things listed out vertically. So, and Timster says it's less invasive to him to have it horizontal in his opinion. However, the fourth point on here is actually it's less obstructive, especially if you're using the auto hide feature. And that does make more sense, is if you have that hidden, you actually end up with more space, but when you need to access the taskbar, it is there and available, and vertical gives you the other optional things. I have never enjoyed auto hiding taskbar. That's been like one of my biggest pet peeves ever. But if I did make it so that the taskbar was taking up more screen real estate, and I could get that screen real estate back by having it and get additional features, the vertical auto hide might not be that bad.
You know what that probably can't do, but you should be able to do is have it auto, like instead of auto hide, how about just like an auto collapse where it goes down to icon mode until you move your mouse over there, and then it can expand to the text. You know,
That would be nice.
That would be nice. I agree with you. Auto hide bothers the crap out of me.
And RTM Tech says he likes auto hide in the smallest possible size available. But
celebrate our differences even as techs.
Yeah, but the good thing here too is the other interesting reason this could be an interesting change or worthwhile to you is if you're on a laptop, definitely having these changes might increase your ability. Like if I had to go back down to one screen, having it auto hide and being able to have more information visible when I need to go to it is probably a better route. And the other side of it, from the other standpoint, is the higher resolutions we get to, the more you're able to take up screen real estate and not really be losing out anything. Like my main monitor is a 4K monitor. I could take up plenty of room and still have tons of room for my applications and everything. So I thought it was an interesting article, and it definitely has made me reconsider. I do have taskbars on all of my monitors, and they are all currently horizontal, but I thought maybe I might. I just wanted to get everybody else's opinion on it.
I'm willing to try it again. Not this second.
If anyone does try it, let us know how it goes.
Well, you know, I also have that window manager thing, and you know what? Come to think of it, I